Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we've got another of these brand new Ricsan Custom Toys releases. You can see we've got another Harryhausen creature. This time it's the monster from 20 Million Miles to Earth, aka the Ymir. And this thing looks awesome. How cool is it to have a super articulated version of this creature? Super cool, I could tell you that much. You can see the Ricsan Custom Toys logo here on the box, and then up on the top, a nice little shot of the figure and everything, and stating collect them all, and then here on the back, a few different angles of our Ymir, and that is definitely one epic looking figure. So let's pop this box open and check it out. So here is our Ymir figure, and it looks so cool, and man is it ever neat to have an articulated version of this creature. On top of that, you actually also get a little bag with a whole bunch of different sort of like military type vehicles and stuff, similar to what we've had with quite a few of the releases with the different kaiju. But these are always super fun to have, you know, just to kind of display with the different figures that you get from Ricsan Custom Toys. But look at how good this looks. It absolutely looks just like it does on screen as far as I can tell, and again is just insanely cool to actually have a super articulated version of this creature, of this kaiju. I guess you could consider it a kaiju anyway. I mean, it is a giant monster. It's just not quite, you know, Godzilla sized. But you can see starting here in the head sculpt, it looks really nice as far as the fine detail goes. We've got the nostrils right there on the tip of the snout. The mouth is open. We can see the teeth painted out there on the inside of the mouth. We can also see the tongue sculpted out and painted with a pinkish tone there inside the mouth as well. This one does not have an articulated jaw, but that's because the figure's mouth is so super tiny. I feel like they probably just chose not to include that because it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But as you move back into the head, you can see the very nice bumpy texturing to the skin. We can also see the ears right there. You also have almost like a scoot-like appearance that kind of rings around the eyes. And this one little area I always felt almost looked like a mustache for the Ymir here, and they are painted with a light gray, those different areas. The primary body color of this one is a green. You do also have an eye painted with a white and then a brown for the pupil. If you move up here to the top of the head, you have that kind of fin-like look moving over the top of the head and then down into the neck. You can see again all of the very nice bumpy scales moving over the top of the head of the figure, as well as a whole bunch of creasing as you lead into the back of the neck. It does, of course, have articulation in the neck, so you can turn the head and neck of the figure very nicely, both left and right, but also up and down. Not a whole lot when it comes to the range of motion up and down, but it does have a little bit, but it's mostly kind of like, you know, twisting and turning, basically swiveling the head and neck of the figure. As you move down along the back, you can see a different shade of green, a little bit more of a vibrant green moving along the back. We can also see some osteoderms popping up here and there, and the fin area of the figure does increase in size a bit, and the detail within the fin area also looks really good. You can see it increase in size, then kind of decrease, then increase just slightly, and then start to decrease again before picking back up here, moving over the top of like the spinal column over the hip region right there. As you move back up though, we can see leading into the arms, not only are they very nice and big and muscular, but they also feature some very nice and large scales moving down. As we lead down, you've got a few kind of ridges there moving off of the back of the arm. We can also see more super impressive scale detail moving down this area of the arm as we lead into the hands, and then you can see the fingers sculpted out as well as the nails, which are painted with a nice light tone. Articulation wise, moving down the arm, you have the ability to go forward and back, also out away from the body, again because these are the wire articulation. And then as you move into the elbow, you can make the elbow, you know, up and down, you know, articulate up and down, and also swivel, so you can get that arm basically wherever you would like it to go. And then you do also have some wrist articulation, which is nice, which can swivel and go forward and back as well. Again, helping to create pretty much any and every pose you would like. Moving down along the underside, again, the scale detail looks really good, really nice and vibrant and crisp. We also have a lighter tone that moves down through the underside here of our creature. You can also see as you lead down further, the skin texture starts to kind of switch it up a little bit and change a little bit. As you move down through the underside of the tail, you can also see again that coloration, that lighter tone continues on, but it darkens up just a little bit. But if we move back up here again, we can see that we do have some midsection articulation, which can go left and right very smoothly, also up and down. So you have extra posability. You also have the muscle definition here in the thigh very nicely displayed, as well as again some more skin texture looking really good. As you move down, there is the knee in the front of the leg, a little bit of a calf muscle, and then moving down into the foot sculpt, you have like some scoots down the toes. We've got the claws sculpted out pretty nicely, having a bit of a genuine sharp look and painted with that light tone, as well as the dew claws back there. Articulation wise, you can see forward and back, also out away from the body. Again, pretty much the standard, especially if you are familiar with wire articulation, you're already going to know how the articulation works. And of course, forward and back, and then can swivel in this area as well. You've also got another spot right here, forward and back, can also swivel, and then another spot right here, which can go forward and back, and also swivels. So very nice articulation the entire way down through the leg. And then as we move out into the tail, you can see again that more vibrant green moving over the top, and then the darker green here along the side, and then you also have the lighter tone moving along the underside. But you've also got tons of articulated joints leading out. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 the entire way through. We also see again that almost like fin-like sort of a look there, moving down along the back, disappear and taper off as you lead down. Some more nice scale detail and skin texture with a few osteoderms and stuff popping up, leading out until you get to the ending here of the tail, which again is quite unique looking as a whole. And of course, that allows you to articulate the tail and pose the tail any way you would like, which is definitely a massive plus, especially when it comes to coming up with different poses and everything. Of course, it could look a lot smoother if you take the time to really move all of the joints into place perfectly. But just wanted to give you guys a quick example again of how the articulation and everything works. And the figure is going to look pretty much the same, of course, from the opposing side. You're really not going to see any difference. You'll have the same articulation, same sculpt, same style paint and everything on both sides. The figure itself is pretty much the standard size range for a Ricsan Custom Toys release, standing at about 6 1/4 inches or around 16 centimeters. Lengthwise, you will see this one come in at about 9 inches or 23 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect Day human being next to our Ymir here, and you can see again, it is pretty much the same height as Mr. Papo T-Rex, though obviously a lot thinner, and this is pretty much the standard size range, I would say, for the Ricsan Custom Toys figures. And to further show you that, there is the Stan Winston version of the Godzilla from Ricsan Custom Toys, which you can see is pretty much the same height, slightly shorter, but pretty close to the same height, staring the Ymir right there in the eyes. We've also got their King Kong, which is slightly taller, but roughly in the same similar size range. And then the Valley of Gwangi Allosaurus from Ricsan Custom Toys staring down, another Ray Harryhausen creation with the Ymir, basically two Harryhausen creatures facing off. And then just a few random comparisons, as we have a Playmates Godzilla, which you can see again roughly the same size here. And then the Hiya Toys Godzilla 2014 version next to the Ymir, just to finally iron out one more comparison. So yet again, Ricsan Custom Toys doing an incredible job delivering some of the absolute most epic kaiju figures you will find anywhere, because they don't just create all of the stuff that you usually see, all of the stuff you see all the time. They create figures of kaiju and dinosaurs and just, you know, different monsters and stuff that you don't see get nearly as much love as they deserve. And Ricsan Custom Toys steps up and gives them the love they deserve. And they've done that yet again here with another Ray Harryhausen creature, as we have the Ymir. And I think overall they did a very good job. Like, the sculpt is really nicely detailed. The fine detail itself pops really nicely on the sculpt. It is probably some of the nicest when it comes to the vibrant detail that I've seen on a Ricsan Custom Toys release yet. The sculpt also looks really good when it comes to the way that the creature looks on screen. Now, I'm no absolute expert on the creature, but to me, it looks really good. The articulation is also very well done. It pretty much has an articulated joint in any and every area that you could possibly want to articulate, excluding the mouth, which is the only area that does not have it. But, you know, either way, it still has fantastic articulation everywhere that allows pretty much any and every pose you could possibly imagine. And you've got some pretty nice paintwork. Again, it's fairly basic, but it is an action figure. It's not meant to be super high quality. It's about what you would expect for a standard action figure, and I think overall is very nicely applied. So if you are interested in picking this up, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that on the Ricsan Custom Toys website. And again, you can also check them out on their social media accounts. So check those links, definitely pick this up, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.